I've been spending way too much time online recently. Hi everyone, it's Scott here from That's English School. 今回は Recently について話したいと思います。皆さんご存知だと思いますか？最近という意味になりますね。会話でよく使うやつという感じではないでしょうか。とにかく毎日のように使ってますよね。これはマスターしないとダメですね。でも大丈夫です。文法はそんなに難しくなくて、すぐわかると思いますので、楽しく学んでいきましょう。So it's time for the English part of the video. So set your brain to English mode. And let's look at the lesson lineup. What am I doing? Part 1, Basic Grammar. So the most important part about learning how to use this structure in a natural way is by becoming familiar with the grammar. It's really very simple. I'm going to talk about the two most common patterns. Now, because we're talking about the word recently, in the majority of cases, it's not just about one point in time. It's something which started at one point in the past and is continuing even right now. Let's look at how we make a sentence. I have been plus ing. We can put the word recently in three different positions. At the beginning, recently, I have been eating too much. At the end, I have been eating too much recently. Or between have and been. I have recently been eating too much. In written English, you have to be careful with the comma. If you're putting recently at the front, you need to add a comma after recently. But if recently is in the middle or at the end, you don't need to worry about a comma. Can we substitute lately for recently? Yes, we can do that. But I have a little piece of advice for you. You can put lately at the beginning and at the end. But it sounds funny if you put it in the middle. If you're talking about something that you only did once recently, I mean like a single event, something like taking a trip, then you can just go ahead and use the simple past tense. Again, there are three patterns that I want you to remember. Recently can go at the beginning. Remember the comma. Recently, I took a trip to Kyoto. It can also go at the end. I took a trip to Kyoto recently. There is one more pattern that a lot of people use, and that is by putting recently in between I and the verb, in this case, took. I recently took a trip to Kyoto. So all of these three patterns, they all mean exactly the same thing. So I recommend try and use all three patterns to give your English as much variety as possible. Like before, can we substitute lately for recently? Well, the simple answer is no. Recently is mostly used for a single event. So it just sounds weird if you use lately like this. A nice cup of coffee. I tell you, I needed that. I've been rushed off my feet all week. Recently, there have been so many robberies taking place in the city. We don't know what's going on. I used to spend most of my days pushing paper around my desk in the police station office. But recently, I've been going out on calls here and there, all times of the day and night. I'm absolutely knackered. And on top of that, my back's been giving me a lot of jip recently. I really got to go and get it checked out. But enough of that. It's time to go and catch the bad guys. Hey you, put that down! Part 2, example sentences. First, let's look at the first 5 example sentences. And they're using the present perfect continuous tense. Oh, I remember that. Which is basically have been plus ing. My wife's been getting really into Korean dramas recently. So to get into something, this means when you are crazy about something, it's all you think about. Our car's recently been making a funny noise. I've got to get it looked at. So to get something looked at. So this is when you can have something looked at by a professional, like a mechanic for your car, maybe a dentist for your teeth, or a doctor for your body. To get something looked at. My dog's been getting really chubby recently. Too many treats. So chubby. That's a cute little word that you can use for people or dogs who are a little too heavy and should maybe lose a few pounds. It's much better and much kinder than the word fat. There has been nothing exciting going on in my life recently. So going on, that's another good expression. Going on means basically happening. It's often used as a greeting. Hey, what's going on? Recently, I hope you've been watching a lot of my English lesson videos. Have you seen any of these ones? They're very informative. Here are another 5 sentences using the simple past tense. Recently, I had a bash at the TOEIC, but I don't think I did very well. So this is UK English, British English. To have a bash at something means to try or attempt to do something. Some of our students splashed out on a trip to British Hills in Fukushima recently. So to splash out in something is when you spend money, but you don't really worry about how much you're spending. You can splash out maybe on a new car or maybe a fancy dinner. Recently, Netflix made a spin-off series of my favorite show, but it was a complete flop. A flop is a performance or a product that everyone was looking forward to, but it was actually very disappointing. A wild boar was caught by one of the farmers in our neighborhood recently, and we didn't even know there were any wild boars in this area, so you can imagine our surprise. Recently, I bought a brand spanking new computer because my old one died on me. So something which is brand spanking new is really, really new. It comes from the 19th century when a newborn baby was slapped very gently to help him start breathing. I've been watching some of my favorite movies recently. Yes. Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, Jaws. Absolute classics, yes. They don't make them like that anymore. Oh, and my wife and I, we recently took a trip to the Hot Springs Resort. Yes, me and my little honey bun. We like to get away from time to time to recharge the old batteries, if you know what I mean. I'm very busy at my company, you see. Oh, talking of batteries, I'm just off to the Apple store. I've been having a bit of trouble with this phone lately. The battery just doesn't seem to last like it should. Yes, a bit like me, really. Ha ha! It's homework time. Okay, I'm gonna give you a special question today. It's about earlier on in the video, you saw Hiroshi. Remember this guy down here, Hiroshi? I've never met him before, but he sometimes appears in my videos. It's funny that. So he said he had a problem with his smartphone. So I want you to answer this question. The question is this: what is the problem with Hiroshi's smartphone? Okay, so put your answer down in the comments and I'll check it and get back to you later. Okay? So コメント欄のところにその、答えを英語でね、書いて後でチェックしますので、あとはわからないことがありましたらね、それも、ぜひぜひコメント欄のところに何でも聞いてください。できるだけ早く、答えしますので。Okay, so the next video up is this one over here. It's a playlist of verses. It's like something versus something. So this is a very popular series of videos. So I want you to click over here right now. Let's go.